Awesome. Michelle, we're live.
Woohoo!
Welcome back.
Back on the pod.
Yeah. And you reached out to come back to talk about Let's Adventure Ohio, and it made me really happy, and I've been looking forward to it. We just had a beautiful conversation about yoga for the last, 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Beautiful way to start. But that was what I had asked you, is, do you plan on doing any, pop-up yoga stuff this summer?
Yeah, so the answer is yes and no. Last year, I did pop-up stuff around Athens, some of my favorite places, just go outside and do some yoga. It might look a little different this year. So I am partnering with Feather Ridge Camp in the Zaleski Forest area, so out around Lake Hope.
So north, yeah?
Yeah, and they are doing, we're going to call it wellness weekends, let's say.
Okay.
Where the kind of loose conversation at the moment is where it's open to the public, but also to the people who are staying at the camp. And it will involve me teaching a yoga class, somebody leading kind of like a meditative nature walk.
Cool.
There might be a food component, who knows. So we're in development for getting that all put together. And I think the end of May is the first one of these. So we're discussing it. We've picked dates. We've got kind of an idea. So my pop-up is going to look more like hanging out with them one weekend a month to do some yoga out there, that
Nice.
Anybody is welcome to come and visit their space and participate and do that kind of stuff. And so I got to know Feather Ridge Camp through Adventure Ohio, right? Because Adventure Ohio is not only like a water excursion company where we guide kayak exploration on the Ohio River or rent out tubes for people to float down the river for the day or whatever, but it also is turning itself toward like the glamp ground space,
Yeah.
right? And so in kind of doing that and building the Instagram following, which is at Let's Adventure Ohio, for anybody who's not following, you should be. So in developing that and looking at what other people are doing and all of that, Feather Ridge and I, Amelia is who runs that, and her husband, but she reached out to me and said, hey, I see you do yoga, and I said, I do, but I also do this. And so we just got to geeking out on all things, outdoors, camping, hiking, the things. And the vibe was just so great that we were like, we've got to work together.
That's awesome. So the way that you could catch a Michelle Stobart yoga class is up at these wellness weekends.
That's right. Yeah. And
Featherington Ridge?
Feather Ridge.
Feather Ridge.
Feather Ridge Camp, yeah. And I will post those on both the Let's Adventure Ohio Instagram and Facebook pages, and I'll post them on the Inhale too, because that's kind of where the yoga following is. But it fits more in the camp of the adventure side of things than necessarily the yoga side of things. So yeah, it's been an interesting thing to kind of split myself into all these versions of myself, right? Like we're such interesting bits of human, and I'm no exception. So, like there's yoga Michelle and acupuncture Michelle and adventure Michelle and like they all have a little overlap because it's all me, right? They all kind of enter and commingle, but in the digital space, I've been trying to figure out like what goes where. And, what is the audience of Inhale Wellness Studio now? What is the audience of Adventure Ohio? What is the audience of Michelle? And what do I share on those different platforms? And who do I want to be sharing to on those different platforms, And just trying to navigate and negotiate that. I think some people are... like they come into those things already knowing what their audience is, and I'm just a crazy girl. I'm like, this is an idea, let's do it, and then I try to figure out how to do it after I've gotten so excited and just like crash into it.
Yeah. And which is really exciting. So, like, I was just looking at the Adventure Ohio Instagram, and it's like a year now of putting together this, like, kind of glamping, like, A-frame thing. Like, I saw you post a video, like, working a tiller or like a line tiller or something. Like, what have been the developments to this? This is down in Racine.
That's
right?
correct. Yeah. So Adventure Ohio's actual physical location is in it's in Antiquity, which is a little, we'll call it suburb
Cool.
of Racine, the giant town
The
of
suburb
Racine.
of Racine.
So Antiquity is actually halfway between Racine and Leetart, which again, we're talking like a 5-mile stretch, like whatever. It might be more than that. But anyhow, small town, wonderful community. And so it's property that my family has owned my whole life. I grew up there.
Wow.
And so in the last 3 or 4 years, my family and I have been having discussions about the property itself, what we want to do with it. You know, my mom lives there, my brother lives there. I bought a piece between them. What do we want to do with it? Do we just want to live on it? Or we've got this gorgeous resource of the Ohio River. Not only the gorgeous resource of the Ohio River, but our section of the Ohio River is the only part in this area that has like rocks in the river that you literally can jump off of or swim around or climb on and all of that. It's the only section that has that. And so we have this gorgeous resource that provides so much fun, you know, and then put in areas above that space where you get like straight up views of the Leetart Lock and Dam, which is incredible. Yeah. And then, you know, Racine, the town that we're nearest to, is going through this huge gentrification process right now. So several of the river towns in Meigs County and along the Ohio River a couple years ago petitioned for a grant to renovate the riverfronts.
Yeah, is this like opportunity zone stuff? Whatever the tax credit is. Yeah. Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah. I'm with you.
But they petitioned for it and they got this money, and so Racine was part of that and got this money. And so for the last 2 years, Racine has been going through the, you know, planning and preparation and getting the approvals and all of that. And this past year, they've made a huge push in the direction of bringing those plans to life. And it is going to be incredible. Wow. I mean, it is going to be so gorgeous. When you say like they're gentrifying Racine, I mean, are they like setting it up for like tourism? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. And, you know, making it beautiful for the people who already live there, making it more beautiful and more access to the riverfront. So the riverfront, from an access standpoint, many years ago, they built a new boat dock in Racine, so that you can go and launch your boat from there and take advantage up to the dam, through the dam, down to Pomeroy, whatever. But that's it. There's not really a hangout place there. It's just a boat dock that you put in and take out at. And then there's the Star Mill Park there, which is kind of like the public use space on the riverfront with no access to the river. So you see the river, and you've got the playground, and you've got the bandstand, and you've got the ball fields, and you got the walking track and the splash pad and all those things at Star Mill Park. But there's no river access there. And so there's really hasn't been any quality way for people to relax on the river from the shore. Yeah. You just have to get in a boat and go out there, which limits the river to a lot of access, right? Yeah. So this project that Racine is doing currently, there's a store, it's called Crosses. It's been that way forever, but it used to be a grocery store when I was growing up there, and it's gone through several iterations or whatever. But the Crosses store has become kind of the anchor point centerpiece of this renovation. It's an old building, it's historic, it's 3 stories, it's rundown, but has the potential to be amazing once again. So the town has purchased it, and that's kind of its hub from where everything is coming out. And they are, from that point, they're making an amphitheater and sidewalks and sitting spaces. And from that amphitheater, it goes down in multiple levels to the river, and there will be a dock there for boats to stop and access the town from that, but for people to also be able to go down and picnic and be on the river without being in the river, right?
Yeah. 'Cause, I mean, it is like a lot of the Ohio River is just like bank,
It is.
like drop off. Yeah, yeah.
Yes, and so so Racine, we heard, Adventure Ohio heard about this grant and started to get into conversations with Scott Hill, who's the mayor of Racine, and started to get into conversations to learn more about the project. You know, what are you doing? How's that all happening? What's the timeline, etc. So we learned all of those things, and then swing back around to my family's conversations. Now we're like, this is happening in Racine. They're making this push to beautify and to bring more people here, whatever. We want to be the premier access point for water sport activity,
Wow.
right? We have the place to launch it from. We've got the family property here. We've got a knowledge of this river because we've been on it all our lives, right? Things that most people wouldn't even know. Like, I mean, I could take you on a water tour on a paddleboard or a kayak and point out to you rocks under the water that you wouldn't even know that are there unless you've lived it and been it for all your life, right? Been in it. So, so that's actually part of what we do. So we started these conversations. We started getting serious about these conversations. Like, if this is happening down there, how do we leverage that to provide a tourist destination stop within this town, to provide something to do other than just come and have some food and sit on the river or something? Like, how do we help expand the tourism here?
Yeah.
How do we make that a better fit? How do we provide spaces for the people who are coming here
Yeah.
to be able to stay here for multiple days and take advantage of what's going on here in these towns?
It makes a lot of sense to me, like mainly because of how popular like Hocking Hills has gotten. It's like people are willing to travel to Southeast Ohio,
Absolutely.
you know? But I mean, to your point, there are no like river towns that pop up of like, you know, this is really, maybe like the mouth of the Hocking, you know, like where they have like just some campground. That's not really a destination spot. It's like
Right.
that's just the, you know, local dudes that are 20 minutes away that just want to hang out on the weekends there, you know. So that it is an interesting opportunity that you bring up because like nothing kind of jumps out of like, you know, sick river town. you
Right,
know?
exactly. Yeah, and so I think that's part of the discussions that are going on there. You know, like Pomeroy's doing it right. You know, like they've gone through multiple years from the point that, I mean, the town was always there, and it was a thriving town when I was a kid. Like that whole riverfront street was just populated with different kinds of stores and people and restaurants and all the things, right? It's a 3-block town.
Yeah.
But, you know, like it was beautiful. It was a beautiful riverfront. And then, you know, as all things do, it trended downward. And then, you know, people my age, Larry and Candace Hess, came into town. I think they're actually younger than I am. But anyway, came into town and saw a building there and were thinking about, you know, like where do they want to go with their lives? What do they want to do with their lives? And they opened River Roasters coffee shop.
Yeah. Love River Roasters.
Right. So that became the anchor, in my opinion.
Yeah, okay.
Now, other people might say other things, but in my opinion, that became the anchor to the growth of that town, and their energy became the spark by which more of those buildings became renovated.
Yeah, and now they just like have you seen it recently where they're just like finishing it up over by like is it like the Courthouse Grill and like Clark's and all? Like that little spot looks really really good.
And that is their riverfront grant project.
Oh, that makes so much more sense.
Yeah,
now.
that is their riverfront
So
grant
they have
project.
that little like kind of little like grassy park area in between the buildings that they would do like shows and stuff. Like, nah, that's exciting.
Yeah,
Wow.
and so I was just down there over the weekend, and yeah, that's coming along. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah.
It's supposed to have a fountain. It's got
Yeah.
multi-layer. Like,
It looks really good.
yeah, I can't wait to see that finished project. So I feel like, like there's something happening there
Yeah.
in Pomeroy, right? There has been, and they've been going through that process for multiple years to kind of build that town back up into something pretty magical where you can be on the river and have some outdoor spaces that you can be there without having to be in a restaurant or on the levee, right?
Yeah.
And then Middleport's doing some stuff too. They have their own share of that money from that grant, and so Middleport is down there doing some stuff too. Ben Neese is their mayor, and I haven't had a chance to really dive in with him about what's happening down there, but we're hoping that Adventure Ohio can partner with them. I've heard something about something going on down there. Part of his project is on Leading Creek, which is a creek that comes off or dumps into the river,
Like a
but
contributory, yeah.
yeah, that goes back, and it's actually able to be paddled. And so I'm hoping to have some conversations with Ben, because I've got some really cool ideas of ways that Adventure Ohio could help support that access and could help support that. But Ben and I haven't been able to connect yet on that front. So between Middleport, Pomeroy, and this soon-to-be Racine, you've got, like I said, you've got the lock and dam. So if you drive up to anybody could do this, but if you drive up to the lock and dam on the Ohio side, there's a parking lot there, and there are stairs that go down, and there's a place where people fish right off of that, and you can stare at the lock and have a great time. So from there all the way down to, let's say, Leading Creek at Middleport, you've got restaurants, shopping, ways to sit on the water without being in the water and take in the scene. And Racine is starting to wrap its mind around, as it's going through the construction, it's starting to wrap its mind around how within those places it also has some destination opportunity there as well, which is part of where Adventure Ohio is coming in. Like, we want people on the water, and we want people staying in the area.
Yeah.
So we started Adventure Ohio this is 2026. We started in 2024, and like, we officially opened in 2024. That was our first on-water season, and we did glow tube floats.
I think I saw pictures of that.
Yeah, and we did family floats and ice cream socials, all in one thing.
Yeah.
And we did mermaid photo shoots, because I swim as a mermaid, and I also love taking pictures of little girls when they're all mermaid and in their
cool.
fantasy
Yeah,
land. It's
cool.
so fun. We did that, and then we had our things available for rental as well. That was our first year, and in that first year, we kind of pulled more of here's what we want to do with the property. And so my brother Ed and I started, putting our head down and just clearing out the brush.
Yeah, because we're talking fully 100% undeveloped land.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The parts that we want to use for the business.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. And so, multiflora rose, bush overgrowth, poison ivy, you think of it, and it was there. On top of trash, garbage, just like all the things that people over time dumped into that. And by people, probably my dad and his friends, but whatever. People dumped into that. And so in 2024, we were like, okay, let's start clearing this property and seeing what we have and what's possible. So 2024, we started doing that while we were, leading
Yeah,
the water
yeah.
stuff and staying in communication with Racine and learning about how that project was unfolding and kind of like working out the kinks, right? Reaching out to an audience, but not so big, not so touristy that the two of us couldn't keep up with, right? Just kind of like working out the kinks. So last year, we expanded our water excursion offerings. We did this basically in events. We would create an event, we would advertise the event, we would have people sign up for the event, and then we would guide the event, right? And then put a little more kind of intention toward the rental part so that you didn't have to join an event. You could go have your own
Just come by, pick up
adventure.
2 kayaks, and take off.
Yeah, because we really want that. We want people having their own adventure. We don't want to like always be putting events out there,
for sure.
right?
But there's definitely a group of people that are like, this is what I want, especially if it's like, I'm not comfortable out on the river or whatever. But again, like if
Yes.
you're, if you're 20 minutes from town and for sure, like it makes sense. You got to have the option for both.
Yeah, absolutely. And so even when people rent, I've reached out to a person who does maps as well, like the fun little campground maps or whatever.
Yeah.
So I've reached out to a person for that because what I want to do is create a river map. And I want to, on that river map, how I was saying about like, you don't know until you know where the rocks are underneath of there and all that kind of stuff. I've named them all.
That's funny.
So I've named them all. And so I want to create a river map from the dam all the way down to Middleport and be able to talk about, like paddle this distance and you're going to hit Whale Rock, like that kind of stuff. And have that all on there so that when people are doing their own excursion, we kind of have like here's what you can expect to find and see and might be of interest to you. Here's how long it takes. Here's the mileage. And if you're just kind of putting along, here's how long it takes. If you're like getting it, here's how long it takes.
That makes so much sense. I don't know why I keep relating this to Hocking Hills, but that's what you name the caves. You tell them, here's where you're at. Here's how you can get to where you're going. Here's the round trip length. Here, like
Absolutely.
all of the logistics of, to like help people make those decisions. And then like over time, you just like, oh, that's the spot you got to go to. Like that makes so much sense.
Well, and
that's really cool.
So like our Hocking Hills counterpart is Adventure Pro Outdoors. Those guys are doing the Hocking River tube floats and trips. They're the ones, like if you're looking online in social media, like they'll come up the most because they've been around for a long time.
It's like the cabrewing place. That's what all my boys call it.
Yeah, they've been around. They've been doing it for a long time, and their website's incredible, actually, by the way. Here's me promoting everyone.
Yeah, shout out.
Including, right? But their website's incredible, too. And I've looked at their website to kind of help me formulate some ideas because they're doing it really well in Hocking Hills. And they have on their website, like, a 3-mile trip, a 6-mile trip, and they tell you how long it's going to take, and different things like that. And I think that's brilliant because, like you said, if it's a hiking trail, we would do the same thing. So why wouldn't you do that on a water trail?
For sure, there was like the 2, 4, and 8-hour trips.
Yes,
yeah,
absolutely. And so then people know what they're in for. Right? And they know, like, if you start here, it's going to take this long-ish to get there, like that kind of stuff. And so that's what I want to do. I want to develop a map from the dam down to Leading Creek that has like, here's the distances, here's the time, here's the cool stuff to see along the way. Here's where you can get out and go grab a bite to eat or something to drink or
like on the maps, like as you just like, you could pull out. That's such a good idea. The other, like the thing I liked about that like Hocking Hills one too is like kind of as you're going down the river, there's like all these like different sandbars, right? And then it's like maybe whatever, like you're overlapping other groups, and it's like some people just like they hit the first sandbar and they're like, I'm gonna hang out here for an hour and just booze, and then I'm gonna hop back in the boat. And so then it was really cool, like all of those kind of like pools of like where people could hang out, and I see that similar kind of thing where it's like, you know, a couple different groups come out and you like kind of maybe pop over and hang out with them, meet some people, like, oh yeah, we went and saw this thing before and it was really cool. Like, oh okay, we'll go check that out, or you know, like oh, like we had a, you know, whatever, really great burger over in Palm, like,
yeah,
it's just all like setting up the capacity for those types of things. Like that's such a good idea.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing that I think about it. We will go to Florida. We will go to Tahiti. I just went there. we will go to Mexico. We will go to all kinds of places.
Traverse the globe. Yeah.
And we will go for those exact experiences, right? Like we will go and pay, and maybe it's just me and people like me who go and rent kayaks and go paddling over Midnight Pass in Florida. You know, like maybe it's just me and people like me, but that's who I want here anyway. Yeah. Me and people like me, right? Like we will go and do that other places. Why don't we do that in our own backyard?
Yeah, because it's not as cool. It's not as novel. Yeah, whatever. It's not as Instagram worthy.
But it totally is.
Yeah, I'm with you.
That's the thing. It totally is.
I was projecting, you know,
right,
popular opinion.
Sure. But that's the thing, though. It totally is. It has a whole bunch to show you. And, you know, like I tell people this all the time, even here about Athens, you know. I'm like, usually one day a month, I take the opportunity to be a tourist in my own town.
Mm.
Because wherever it is that you live, you are going through the motions of your life in that place. You drive the same way you always drive to go to the grocery store. Yep. You go to the same place to eat. You hang out with your friends or hike the same trail. Like, you do the same thing all the time because that's the comfort zone you've created and that's the routine you've created. But people come to your town to actually visit it and to be a tourist, right? People come to Athens all the time to be a tourist. I mean, like, university is a draw for sure, but people go to Pomeroy for Blues Bash or the Stern Wheel Festival. People go to Ravenswood, which is right across the river from where we are in the Antiquity Leitard. They go there for different festivals and things like that. People come to be a tourist in your town. Why wouldn't you want to be a tourist in your own town? Like, step outside of your own mindset and go to a coffee shop you've never been to before. Or, you know, go eat at a restaurant you wouldn't ordinarily choose. Like, do the things that tourists do in your own town, and your town becomes so much more expansive to you,
yeah.
So much more interesting to you, right? And it is Instagrammable,
yeah.
You know, like it is all the things that people are coming here looking, you know, like you don't have to be a Hocking Hills to be amazing. You don't have to be a downtown Columbus or, you know, a Savannah, Georgia.
Yeah.
Like Tiny Town Racine, Tiny Town Pomeroy is pretty incredible if you just open your eyes as a tourist.
For sure. Purple Chopstick, that's the first one that came to mind for me. I drove past that restaurant probably thousands of times before I ever stopped there. Mm-hmm. And then, like, we went back and, like, we sat on, like, the back patio, and then you could, like, kind of see how they used to have, like, tables, like, up across the little creek and, like, back in there. Yeah. And it's just, like, for sure, how have I driven past this my entire life and never known, you know?
Yeah.
Like, the guy who owns it used to come to Kroger all the time. Like, I worked at Kroger in high school, and, you know, he would like come get stuff and so whatever. Like I don't know, but that, yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So with that as kind of like my mindset, even the town I grew up in, you know, like that river is incredible.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like you can look out and you can see a body of water and you can put your mind in all the things you think are wrong with it, or you can look out and you can see beautiful nature. Wide open blue skies, an amazing dam that you hardly ever get access to anywhere, right? Shops and cool spaces to stop, sandbars to hang out on, you know, like barges that go past you while you're out on the river, you know, like eagles and all kinds of birds and fish jumping, and like it's so interesting. And so, like, as people who've grown up there, we're thinking, we love this so much. Why wouldn't we want to share that with other people?
That's beautiful.
Right? The town is pulling itself more into a destination. And we want to be the go-to water sport company, right? We want to take you out and share with you what we love so much about this section of the Ohio River, what we love so much about Meigs County and this, southeastern part of Ohio, and these river towns. Like, we want to be the ones to say, like, we're glad you're here as a tourist, and we want you on this water. We want you hiking in these woods. We want you eating at these shops. And here's all the cool stuff that's going on here that you don't want to miss out on, right? And so, that second year in 2025, we pulled people in. We expanded our reach. And so we pulled people in from Cleveland, from Cincinnati.
Like logistics people, you mean?
No, we pulled people in for being on the water. Okay. So we started to reach out further, to invite people in, to get them to come and experience this. And, like, they loved it. We loved it, We learned some things in our first year. We made some tweaks. Second year was better. This will be our third year on the water. Cool. But in that last year, one of the things, because we were getting people from the 3 hours, 4 hours away, we even had someone come over from Pennsylvania.
Damn.
3 hours, 4 hours away, the part that we found was kind of lacking was, where do you stay? If you're going on a sunset and glow float in the night that starts at 6, 7, 8, somewhere around in there, and doesn't end until 11 p.m., you're not driving 4 hours back to Pennsylvania or 3 hours back to Cleveland or whatever. So where do you stay, right? And so those people were asking me, like, where do you stay? And so I would help them find other places.
I mean, just like Airbnb, because I was like, there's no infrastructure out there, right? Which is, like, I guess what people maybe the counter argument against, like, that gentrification stuff is, like, you're just going to take all the properties, turn them into Airbnbs that other people, like, I don't know, right? That's just like the pushback you would get. But
well, and I can't remember the number. I had mentioned something to Scott about that, the Racing Mirror. I had mentioned something about that, and he gave me a number about how many Airbnbs were in that area. And then I was talking to the Meigs County Chamber. I was talking to Perry down there, the Meigs County Chamber, and he gave me a number of, like, the number of Airbnbs across Meigs County. Now, across Meigs County doesn't equal riverfront, but Meigs County isn't so big that you couldn't stay in the furthest corner and get to the riverfront in 25, 30 minutes, right? Yeah. So, not that big of a deal. But they gave me some number that I found interesting, because I didn't think there were that many. So it was more than what I thought.
Interesting.
But not like thousands, right? But there are no hotels there. Right? There are no hotels there. There is a state park. Forked Run State Park is there, and it's deeply underutilized, and not really well kept. Meigs County is not getting a lot of state money filtering in to really turn that into what it could be, because that park's got a lake, a swimming area, tons of campsites, both
it's like Stroud's. They're Stroud's.
Yeah, and it's right down there on the river. And so, that's a place you could stay if you were doing, like, if you wanted to do an RV camping kind of thing. And then that would put you like 20 minutes away from where Adventure Ohio headquarters is, and you'd take the River Road all the way down, and you'd slam right into us.
Yeah, cool.
But yeah, so that's the thing we were thinking about. Like, there are places to stay, but why don't we become a place to stay?
That makes so much sense.
If you're going to be here and you're getting off the water late, wouldn't it be lovely to just roll off the water into your space, have a shower, snuggle into bed, how cool. Or maybe you're the kind that wants to, like, get off the water and light a bonfire and hang out until 2 o'clock in the morning. Fair enough. Do that too, right? So that just furthered along last year our idea of wanting to have more stay spaces there.
It makes so much sense. Yeah.
So this year, then we spent the winter, like, fleshing out a plan that we had started in 2024 and fleshing that out into, like, glamping A-frames and, bell tents.
Which glamping, right? We should explain that.
Yeah.
So camping, right? You have camping. What I would call camping is kind of like you don't have electricity. Maybe you don't have like an outhouse. Like you don't have running water. It's like you're out in nature. You're camping. A glamping is like glamorous camping, right?
Absolutely.
Like we had a fifth wheel and we would stay down in the Hocking River right at the mouth of the Ohio growing up, and we called that glamping because
It totally
there's
is.
6 beds in this 42-foot long box. There's like an oven, there's a fridge. Like we're not camping, we're glamorous camp. That's where the word glamping.
That's where the word
from.
glamping comes from.
Yeah.
Yes, it means glamorous camping, and so it means that you can sleep in a real bed.
Yeah.
You can have some facilities. You can have kind of like home-like comfort, but still deeply steeped in nature in an outdoor experience.
Yeah.
And that ranges everything from like canvas bell tents or safari tents all the way up to, kind of like shipping containers that have been remodeled into
They have some of
homes.
those at Bailey's that look really cool. Like Bailey's Trail
Yes.
System, they have some sick
Yes.
shipping container things.
And that's what Feather Ridge is doing too. They're
that's cool.
doing.
That's
they
cool.
have safari tents there, and then they
So
have
a
some
safari
of those
tent?
A safari tent is like
Like a yurt almost, but not as like
It's the kind of like house looking structure.
Okay.
But it's made out of canvas, so it's a tent,
yeah.
usually on a platform. And it's made out of canvas. It's got some windows, like some roll-ups for windows or whatever.
I see. Okay.
And then you just outfit it like, an indoor space.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
got a real
I'm with you.
bed, a couch, like all the things. So it's bigger. Like the bell tents, like have a bell shape, right? They're like a tiny circus tent.
Yeah.
Right? And so the bell tents are like a tiny circus tent, usually like 8 feet, 9 feet tall in the center, and then they go out maybe about 9 feet. 10 feet to the edges. You can get bigger ones too, but whatever. And then again, same thing. The thing that makes it glamping is even if you're staying in one of these bell tents or safari tents that are canvas, you have a real bed, you have some sort of like lounge seating. It might be a couch, it might be a couple of chairs, whatever. Typically in those experiences, they don't have like kitchenettes in them, but they have a full outdoor cook set, right? So you've got a cooler that you're putting your food in. You've got the like the propane burner stoves, whatever. You got the full set of outdoor cook dishes and all that kind of stuff.
You would still call that facilities, right? Yeah,
right.
You got facilities.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And typically in those kinds of things too, you have some sort of facilities, whether it's whether we're talking like porta potties and outdoor showers or to official bathhouses, somewhere along there too, you've got some sort of bathroom type facility.
Yeah.
And generally it's shared, like any other state park camp out or something like that. Generally it's shared. Sometimes it's individuated. It just depends on, how glamorous the situation is, right? And all that kind of stuff. And so all the way along the line. So for us, this year, we have a ridiculous camper. I mean, it is so big. It is a house.
Yeah.
It's a 40-foot camper. It's got 3 slides on it. It's got 2 bedrooms, 2 full baths, a kitchen with like a real refrigerator and stove. Like it is huge.
Yeah, it's like a retirement RV. Like
it totally is.
Yeah,
it absolutely is. It absolutely is. So that is where we've been putting our focus this year. And so swinging back around to the Instagram that you were talking about, yes, last weekend I was running a trencher. So I was trenching. We're setting the electric drop in, and so I was trenching to pull the electric drop back to where I want to plug the camper into.
Oh, nice. If it's underground, no wires. That'll look good.
And to run the potable water hose from the water connection so that I can plug it into the camper when the time comes as well underground so that we can mow around it and not have to move things.
Right.
So I was running the trencher for that, and then also I used the trencher kind of off-brand usage. I used it to make my my digging easier for holes that I needed to pour concrete so that I could block up the foundation of the camper. So typically when you're camping, right, you've got the jacks that you put down and all that to stabilize it and all that.
Yeah.
Well, because
Level
ours,
it out and shit.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And so since ours is huge and it's sitting there, it's not an over the road kind of thing. So since it's huge and it's sitting there, we're going an extra step and we're actually blocking up the frame so that it is just solid, like it's not rocking around.
Yeah.
It's like it's level, it's solid, it's like you're walking in it and you're not feeling the earth move beneath you. That's what we're going for anyway. So that's what we've been doing the past weekend.
Cool.
Is getting that electric drop set in and getting the water line run and all that. I still have to deal with some septic stuff and
But are you putting one in to drain from there? Like what?
Yes-ish.
Yeah.
So we're not putting in a septic like a house septic.
Yeah.
But the tanks on that are only like 38 gallons, and so that's not going to get, for a weekend rental, that's going to have things backing up into the camper, even with moderate use. So what we're doing is, I think, anyway, this is the current working plan. It could change. But the current working plan is they have 300-gallon, they call them above ground septic containers.
Probably just looks like a big water tank.
It's just a big rectangle, actually.
Yeah.
It's about almost 2 feet tall and, like 6 feet long and maybe 5 feet deep or something like that.
Okay.
And so our current working plan is to do that and to pipe the lines to that.
Straight from the camper to that. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then there's a local septic company that will have come
Just drain it out.
and drain it out after. Maybe after each person, it depends. Like we don't know yet what the usage is going to be like on that.
For
so
sure.
it might be that after every checkout, like we have them come do that. It might be that it's 2 checkouts before that. Like we're just gonna have to play that one by ear until we get a good feel for
The
like,
lived
what
experience
that's like.
doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's where that's at, and then continuing to clear the property. Still working our way through, permitting and laying the groundwork as far as electric goes and things like that for the A-frames and how much of the land, because that's going to be built up into the hillside. So how much of the land do we want to move? There's some concerns within the family unit about if we start putting heavy equipment up there and moving that, will the rocks fall? Will the trees fall? All of that.
Well, it's like if the trees start going and the roots stop, like the roots are predominantly like the structure that is holding that hillside together. Right? It's like you always see people cut off all the hills on the tree side and you're like, oh no!
Right.
Like, why did you do that?
Right.
Exactly. Yeah,
Exactly.
that's interesting. And to even just like setting the foundation of these little A-frames, it's like adding weight onto those that have never been there historically, and then like what does that look like, and that's it all makes plausible sense what you're saying.
So there's some discussion amongst the family about how best to go for that. And as I mentioned, maybe not on air, but maybe I did, but as I mentioned, I'm a girl who's just like, here's an idea, let's crash into it, and then we'll like figure it out when the time comes, right? Like nothing bad will happen, and if it does, we'll figure it out when it does, right? Like I'm not a girl who's like, let's go through every possible scenario of what could go wrong and then see if we still feel good about it. I'm like, the universe is behind us, let's do it, and it's got our back when bad stuff happens. So, but other members of my family who, it's part of their property or, are key members in these conversations, have more of a conservative, let's just slow it down a little bit, and I'm like, no, we got to get it built this year, like whatever. So it's a good balance, right? You've got me who's a visionary and who's like just putting it all out there, and then we've got other members of my family who are like, just slow your roll for a second and think about a thing or two,
Yeah.
right? And so as we're building out, so this camper's on my piece of property, and as we're building that out structurally with the electric and the water and the septic and all of that, I'm also learning a lot, which is also helping me with this other project to slow my roll, because I'm seeing what it's taking on this piece of property of mine that is, we're going to say, like, relatively flat and easily accessible, whereas up in this hillside, we're working with a whole different set of rules, right? And running electricity to 3 different spaces at different levels on this hillside is, I understand the challenge that that's going to pose now, whereas before I'm like, if I can think it, it can be done, like, I understand.
Atoms have to move. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, like, I'm understanding the challenges, and I'm actually understanding how various members of my family that are kind of weighing in on this project are like, slow your roll.
Yeah.
And as I get into this in my own personal property and what I'm doing on it, as I get into that a little bit more, I'm like, okay, I could see where this could be an issue. I could see where we might want to rethink this or redo this or whatever. So
it's like the more you know, the less you know for sure. You know what I mean?
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So the glamping A-frames are still simmering, but they're not they were going, as we started this season, they were going to be a this year project, open and available May, June of this year. That's not happening.
Yeah. What about like a good happy medium? Like, you got your camper set up, like you have some of the land cleared. Like, could you just like almost like whatever, you have the water rental, like, could you just offer them to like rent a little spot to throw their tent up or whatever, and they could still kind of get that like hangout? It's like, you don't have the glamp aspect yet. Maybe
Right.
you don't like that. This is like, yeah, maybe you do just catch the Airbnb 20 minutes away. I don't know.
I think that's what my brother is wanting to
Just
do.
like soft open it. Like, if
Yeah.
you want, it's just another thing that if you think that would be a cool experience for you, then bang, you're right there.
Right,
It's like,
exactly.
set it up. Yeah.
Exactly. And we had already, so we use HipCamp as our platform for rental and all that. And so we had already put a campsite that's actually on the river itself, on the
Cool.
river bank. So the way our setup is like State Route 124 is the main road that runs along the river, and our property is on the side away from the river, and then across the river is the riverbank where the rocks are and all of that.
Yeah.
So we had already listed last year a campsite on the river bank on HipCamp, and somebody's already got it kind of rented in
Cool.
May. So the tricky part about the riverbank rental one, though, is the river is unpredictable.
Yeah, yeah.
And so
you mean like level of water?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah. So from April to June, which is kind of like prime start your season for camping, not for necessarily water sport activity,
Yeah, still cold.
but for
Yeah.
like outdoor nature kind of stuff, is a good kickoff season, because we got pretty good weather around here, April, May, June. But from April to June, we have a lot of rain happening in points around us, not necessarily always us, but in points around us, which all feeds and filters through the river.
Contributors, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And so the river floods, and last year, Memorial Weekend is kind of classically the summer opening weekend for anything water.
Yeah.
Last year on Memorial Weekend, it was flooded almost up to the road.
Wow.
And then it flooded again in, not quite as high, but it flooded again onto the riverbank in I think it was the second week or third week of June. So
Just see, but like, what does this mean? Like, so then you just explained like how that spot that you would maybe rent out is good. Elevation wise, how does that compare to where you're putting like that permanent camper?
So,
like, couldn't that?
it's fine.
It's higher
It's fine.
than.
So technically, that's within the 100-year flood plan, or flood
floodplain.
floodplain.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
So technically, it's within the 100-year. We're not.
What you mean by
quite
that
up
is like that's the highest that it's gotten within the last like 100. So you're saying your camper is above where, or you're saying it's not. It is within it, but it is not like a concern because it was like
Right.
whatever. Was it the really really bad one that everyone talks about?
I have no idea.
Yeah, I just know
do
there's
know
one.
this. 2 years ago, I think it was 2 years ago, in June, there were 2 floods that got over the levee and crossed the river in Pomeroy.
Damn.
Those are big deals, and it happened twice. Those were big deals. And on my family's river property, it got up, and so where this camper is, there's a flat and then a little hill, and then it levels out, and then it hills down, and there's a culvert there, the road, and then the river. And so it did not get up to the flat where the camper is sitting on.
Cool.
And those were pretty epic. Like, those were the highest floods we've had in a really long time.
Yeah.
Pretty epic floods. Still not the 100-year one, but pretty epic floods. So I feel confident that it will be fine. Because also, again, the camper is, it's on wheels.
Yeah.
And on blocks. So there's another 3 feet from the ground up. It's fine.
Cool.
And
Good.
if it's not,
I'm glad to hear. Yeah.
if it's not, we'll deal with it. But for it to get up there to that height in that space, it would be in my mother's house, and her house would be destroyed.
Yeah. Okay.
So we're talking like Moses level flooding at that point, right? Which I think that's what the 100-year is supposed to be, like Moses level flooding, that kind of thing. So
yeah, it's just like hard to rent something out that you don't know.
Absolutely.
I mean, do they know that as like a disclaimer inside of like the thing is like, hey, this is very dependent.
So
upon
as soon as we get a rental that comes in during that period of time, one of the things I do is immediately write them back and say, it's possible that this could happen. If it does happen and you still want to stay, we have spaces on the other side of the river.
Cool.
That still gives you the nature and all that, but it's not on the river. And if people want to cancel, we understand that 100%. The other thing that we're trying to solve for too is, and I think it's going to be fine and really cool. But if somebody is staying in a space and the river's flooded over the road, because where our road is, it's a low dip, and so it comes over the road pretty easily if it gets to that point. Then getting your car and getting access to where these things are, we're underwater now, right? You could still camp there and be fine and have a great time and be in the woods in the background, whatever. You could still do all those things, but how do we get you from there, from where the water ends at the road to the space, right? So I think it would be cool to do a boat taxi. Like, we'll come, we'll put you and your luggage and all the things in a boat, and we will boat you to the space so that you can get out and put your stuff in there.
Yeah.
And also,
Some very trusting participants. Yeah.
right, I mean, what an adventure. I would
Honestly,
be all
yeah,
for it. I'd be
that's
like,
true.
yeah, water taxi me on over
What's
there.
the
I
goal
love
here,
it.
Yeah.
Because if the water is up on the road and it requires a water taxi, it is not, at that point, it is not so ferocious as it is out in the middle, right? It's just like a tame kind of lake situation going on, right? So a boat taxi is not a problem. The church that my mom belongs to is the next adjoining property to our property. And so they've got a lot of parking up there. And so my thought on this whole thing is, if we do this, will the church allow our guests to park there that we can water taxi them in? And would they allow us to, we're already putting in some walking trails, because behind all this, we haven't even talked about this yet, but behind all of this is a giant rock cliff that you can walk alongside in the woods and various other rocks. It's a little Hocking Hills right here on our property. But the other part was thinking, like, could we create a walking path so that if they want to get out and go explore, they don't need to water taxi every time. They can just like pop out, go along the hiking trail, go to their car, go do the thing.
Yeah, not the whole season. You know
Not
what
the
I mean?
whole season. It's
Yeah.
it's just that first window.
Yeah.
Usually right after like middle to late June, it's golden
Mhm.
from that point. I mean, it rains sometimes so little in a season at that point that you literally can snorkel in the Ohio River and see fish.
Yeah, that's good. Which is also probably how you've seen all these rocks over the years, just the water level going down.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I snorkel it, you know. I mean, I have on our events this year is a snorkel the Ohio River with
So,
me.
honestly, I'm just surprised that it's like clear enough for you to do that.
Yeah.
Like, but I mean,
it's not like ocean clear.
Yeah,
you
for
know,
sure,
it's not like
for sure.
Tahiti clear.
Yeah, you know, I think from the you want to know today, like the Hocking Hills, like 2 feet off the dock, where me and all 6 of my siblings are swimming, and it's like, yeah, you know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
like probably the level of clarity that I'm thinking of.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. Well, and it's
like-
yeah. I mean, it's kind
That's
of
really
that.
cool, though.
It's
Yeah,
kind of that,
yeah.
but you know, like you put on your snorkel mask and dive down in there, and the great thing about it is, if you're like me and you like just seeing all the fish and all the water life, you don't get to see them in the Ohio River. They're too skittish. They're just
Yeah.
not used to people being around,
Yeah.
right? They're too skittish. But when it's clear enough to snorkel, but still it's the Ohio River, so
Yeah.
it's like a
Choppy and murky,
cloudy
yeah.
kind of thing, right? You can dive in along one of those rocks and swim under the water for a little bit along those rocks, and the fish can't see you coming.
Mm.
So you get to sneak right up on them and get to see those big like grass carp down there hanging out in the rocks, and then they're like human, and then they buzz off.
Yeah.
But that's really cool.
I've seen my dad pull too big a catfish out, you know? Like,
Yeah.
I don't think a catfish is going to attack me, but damn, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean they're not that close to the shore
Yeah,
though.
yeah,
That's the thing. Like where we're, you
That's a
can't.
good point. Yeah,
you
they're
can't be
35
out-
feet down
yeah.
in the middle. Yeah, you're
Yeah,
right.
you can't be out there in the middle because then it's just like all brown water. There's nothing to look
Yeah,
at anyway,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So, yeah, but along the shore and where it's 10 feet, 12 feet, 14 feet deep, like you can swim around. In
Would
there
I
and
do
swim.
a snorkel? Well, but then maybe you lose your stuff. Like I'm thinking, like you're just floating down on a tube, and you're like, let me dip off and go take my goggles down.
I do that all the time. No,
Yeah,
on a tube.
that's
I do
fine.
it on a paddleboard. I mean, there's plenty of banks.
How does the tubing thing work? Like, are you taking people upriver and then just dropping them off to float down? And that's the same thing
Yeah.
that like the Logan place does,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And it's like you just whatever. Like if you're getting off in the first group, like they stop, drop off like 5 or 6 kayaks, let the people out, go up to the next one.
Yeah.
Like that was exactly how it was done
Yeah,
there too.
yeah, that's how we do it. We have, we don't have a fancy transportation van yet, but one day we will. But
Cool.
but yeah, logistically it always works out. So there's a put in point and a take out. Like if it depends, depends on the group. It depends on like how much energy we have and all that kind of stuff. So we might like tote everything up the river where you put in and you get to see the dam, and then you float down and you finish at our headquarters.
Yeah.
Which is great because then we can just throw everything on the bank, call
Yep.
it done, be done with it. Sometimes we start at our headquarters and we float down to the boat ramp in Racine. And then we have to, what we typically do there is we meet people there, they leave their cars there, and then we transport them up to our space so that when they're done, they can just get in their
Yeah,
car and go.
smart,
They
yeah.
don't have to wait for all the transportation. And then, of course, when Racine gets their amphitheater, we'll add that as an extension point.
Yeah.
Because that will get you another probably 30 to 40 minutes if you're in a
Yeah,
tube
That's
floating
cool.
down.
And
the
and that's
water.
also cool that there's like different parts. You know what I mean? It's like first weekend hit the first part, and second weekend hit the,
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, from there, like from a tube perspective, from there, it doesn't make sense to float a tube unless maybe we took you down to the Pomeroy Levee and put you on there and you floated down to the Middleport boat ramp space. Because between where the Racine amphitheater is going to be and getting to the Pomeroy Levee, we've paddled that, and it's a long stretch of land, and there's not a whole. It's a lot. There's a lot of privately owned space there, so there's not a lot of places to get off of the water, and
That's a
just
good part,
chill.
like about your map. Like that would be very important
Yeah.
to be like, you can't, you
Yeah.
know. Well,
Yeah.
it would be very hard for them to maybe understand where they're at on the map. That's
Yeah.
a different story. But I didn't even consider private land,
Yeah.
like riverfront. Yeah.
Yeah, so the tubes are just kind of from the dam to Racine. That's where we'll allow the tubes to be, which is a good solid half-day float.
Yeah,
you know,
for sure.
on the
Cooking
river.
out in a July sun, man. Come on.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. And then from a paddle perspective, you know, like if you're in a kayak or a paddle board or something like that, then the range becomes so much longer. It's like how much time do you really want to put on the water?
Yeah,
Really.
yeah.
Because from the rocks at our headquarters to the Pomeroy Levee is about an 8-hour day.
Damn.
So, like, you're in it.
Yeah.
You know, like, you're in it. There is, between those two places, there is a boat ramp in Syracuse. So you could take out at the boat ramp in Syracuse.
Like right next to Pomeroy, you're talking about?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But then from Syracuse to the Pomeroy Levee, like, you're on it. There's nowhere to get out.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there's places you might stop and chill out or whatever, but there's nowhere to get out for us to come get you.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
all privately owned or forested, whatever. So, yeah, so anyway, that map, I want to create that map and put the timelines on and all of that kind of stuff.
That's really cool.
I will say, from that Syracuse boat ramp to the Pomeroy Levee, there's a section in there that is so beautiful that it's worth paddle there for sure, even if you can't get out and go anywhere and do anything else. Like, it's a beautiful section of the water through there. I mean, it's all beautiful, but you know, different things. So, but one of the things that I'm most excited about the water, so we've talked about from the dam down, above the dam in Apple Grove, Dorcas, which isn't that far above where we are, there's a place to put in there too. And this is my favorite paddle of all the paddles. It takes about 6 hours. You put in there, you head downriver, so you're going with the current, which is nice. You come down, there's a shipwreck, there's silos, there's an island. You paddle, check out all that cool stuff, go around the island.
Like a barge ship? What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go around that island, and then you get to the dam and you paddle into the lock. They close it up, lift or lower the water depending on what's going on. Well, they lower it because you're on the upper pool.
Yeah.
Lower the water. So you're in there and you get to like go through the process of locking through like
For
a
sure.
boat does.
I was on a pontoon boat once, like one time maybe growing up,
Uh-huh.
and we did it, and it was
It's
for sure.
incredible.
Yeah.
It is incredible to be in there. And I did it as a kid too on pontoons and all that. It's a whole different beast
I can
when you're
imagine.
sitting in a kayak or on a paddleboard. Like, wowzer. So, yeah, and then you know, once you exit out the other side, then, you know, you head down to our headquarters or whatever. You got about 40 minutes from the dam to get to our headquarters at that point. That's a guided thing. We don't let people do that on their
For sure.
own.
Yeah.
We have a good relationship with the guys who run the locks. You know, we call them every time we put an event out.
Cool.
You know, like we're always in conversation for safety too. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
but that's my favorite paddle. Like, it is so beautiful from that stretch, and then you get that experience of going through the lock, which, you know, most people are probably like, whatever, you're going through a lock, but until you do it. You don't know how cool that is, you know? And if you've done it on a boat, it's cool. But if you've done it on a boat you're paddling, it is something totally
I mean,
different.
it makes sense.
You know,
Yeah.
like, so that's an event that we lead. I think I've got it on the calendar for July, I think. Because I think I put it down in July because June is so unpredictable, you know?
You know, you just touched on something there, though, like safety. Like, what are the types of conversations that you're having with I mean, obviously it's probably a little bit different if you're just like somebody's floating down a tube versus kayak. Maybe not, right? So, like, what are the is there like something you make people read? Is it just like something that you go through like right before they're going out? Like how are they like signing a disclosure saying like that you told them? Like how does all that work?
Yeah, so like all businesses, there's a waiver for,
Yeah.
like if you do stupid stuff's on you, not
Yeah,
us.
fuck around, find out.
Exactly. But we are super safety minded. Like we don't want bad things happening on the river
Certainly.
ever.
Yeah.
But definitely not on our watch, right? So what we do is we tell people like these are the boundaries and rules. Like this is the Ohio River is a commerce river.
Yeah.
It's not like the Hocking here, which is just a pleasure,
Yeah.
like float down and have fun,
we got
right?
bars with commodities.
That's right.
Yeah.
So it is a commerce river, and there is a lot going on there. Plus, the boats on there are speedboats, right?
Yeah,
You can go as fast as you want.
For sure.
And so we tell people that, if you're out in the middle in a tube, you're not going to be able to get out of the way of someone coming at you.
Mm-hmm.
And that is dumb.
Yeah.
And so we kind of give like a range of how far out you can go if you're on a tube, and you have to hug the Ohio side of the bank.
Yeah. Okay.
For being in a tube. If you're on a kayak or a paddleboard, you have free reign of the river, but also those boats move faster than you.
For sure.
So, you got to have your head on a swivel. And so we tell people that, have your head on a swivel. If a barge is coming from the dam because it whistles. It's got like that, like the old mines whistle. Whoo,
Yeah.
right? So, if there's something about to happen coming down. Now, it'll take 20 minutes to get to our headquarters once you hear that horn. So we tell people like, listen, be on the listen for that. If you hear that sound, somebody's coming out of that and coming down river. Upriver, you just got to have your head on a swivel and pay attention to what's happening there. So, we orient people to the river and all that. As far as like the river itself, it's not a fast-moving river.
For sure.
Like it's not fast-moving. There aren't rapids. There aren't things that you're going to suddenly drop over a waterfall. Yep. Like all those things are super, super safe. Worst thing that's going to happen is water level's low and you get kind of lodged up on one of those rocks underwater that you didn't see or whatever.
Whatever it is.
Whatever. But pretty much safe. Yeah, like it's pretty darn safe if you're being a reasonable human.
Yeah.
But yeah, we orient people in all those kinds of ways, and talk to them about what to do and all that. And then on top of that, when we're sending out groups on their own private rental, when we're taking groups out, we call the lock and we say, we have a group of however many people. They're on this side of the river. They're going to be between here and here. How many barges are coming down? How many barges are coming up? So we know the traffic because we ask the traffic, and then we give that traffic report to the people as well.
It's really smart.
To say, there's one coming down. They're supposed to be around this area around this time, so be on the lookout if you're still on the water. There's one coming up. They're supposed to be on the water this time, so be on the lookout. So that we not only call the lock in Racine, but we call Gallipolis. So the Gallipolis lock actually controls our pool of water that we're on. The Racine lock controls the pool above us. And so we call them both so that the ones that control our pool know that we're at the top of that pool and we've got people on the water. And the ones that are closest to where we are, even though they're not controlling our pool, they're controlling the traffic to our pool. And so they know we've got hand boats or tubes on the water in this particular range, so that the barges can be on. Yeah. So like safety is super important to us because again, we don't want anybody getting hurt on the river at all, ever, whether it's with us or anyone else. We don't want anybody getting hurt on the river, but we certainly don't want it to happen like on our clock.
Yeah, for sure.
So so we spent the last several years building those relationships.
Honestly, like you just kind of like walk through all these like not like name drops, but just like identifying like, oh yeah, like the mayor of this town, the mayor of this town, the mayor of this town, the chamber of commerce over here. It was really fun. Like I loved hearing that, and it just kind of a testament. Yeah, I mean, like you're in the area that you grew up, like you're tapped in. It makes sense, you know.
Yeah, well, and I've been gone from there for years and years and years, and so like I've known some of these people that are running this town are people I went to school with, right? So, so I know them from school, but I don't know them in life, and so like I'm kind of reestablishing myself in that town in some ways.
It sounds like you're doing a good job of it. Like just being in conversation with Racine and knowing what's going on, and like connecting it all to Pomeroy and to Middleport. Like those are all really exciting things. It makes me excited to see what is happening in Racine. Like when you mentioned that, like whatever that Pomeroy project, because of how nice that looks and just like the space that it can create. Like you would be able to have such an amazing event there, which like I'm trying to think before, it was like just maybe it was just a pedestrian street or something like that. Whatever. I remember it just being kind of an old road with sidewalks on either side, but it's just like a facelift I wouldn't believe is true. You know?
Yeah. I'm so excited to watch it transform. Every time I go down there, I'm just a little bit more like.
I hope Racine finds their river roasters. That anchor for sure.
Yeah, that's the thing that that's the thing I hope too, and that's what that Crosses building is supposed to be.
So is it like going to be like the Federal Valley Resource Center, where it's just like they've got like a music room and is it just a community thing, or is it like a privately owned?
Last I heard, and I haven't checked in on this for a while, so last I heard, the goal was to create something kind of like the Eclipse Company store there. So that the bottom of it would be a restaurant and a venue, and then the top second floor would be like an event space. And then there's the amphitheater, but also they're building a stage there for music performances and different things like that.
Cool.
And so last I heard, that was the goal, to see if they could get somebody who wanted to come in and like turn that into a venue space. And so right now in town, the restaurant that was there when I was a kid, it wasn't called this, I don't think, when I was a kid, but they used to have, it was my favorite, so the old Racine schoolhouse where I went to grade school is still there, and that's the city building now. And then they built a fire station right beside that where the playground and ball field used to be on that property. And then just toward the river, underneath of that property, is this restaurant, like on the main street in Racine, and it's called Sikorsky's, and it's been open for a long time, and it's been in and out of different iterations and all that. But when I was a kid, they had an ice cream window, so you could walk up and get your ice cream from the ice cream window. Coolest thing as a kid. And then they had the interior of the restaurant. So I heard the other day that it's been purchased and it's got some sort of renovation happening in it, and it's going to continue on as a restaurant. So that's great. So there's that restaurant in town. I'm excited to see what they do with it. Yeah. And then on the next block, a couple years back, Blueview opened up, and they are an ice cream shop, and they have like paninis and hot dogs and things like that. Yeah. So just like a little, it's not even quite a diner because they don't have interior space. Like a summer
concession stand
kind
place.
of.
Yeah, like
better.
The
glamping version of it.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. And they have outdoor seating, so they've got picnic tables, and
cool.
The other thing that they do is what are those called? Like, I'm going to call them yard ponds. That's not what they're called. But where people put those water features, where they put those water features in their yard that's got like a little pond and some fish in it, and then like a little waterfall, whatever. Yeah. So that's kind of part of what they do. So they've created something like that in the public sitting space there as well. So that people
like
can get
koi
their ice
pond
cream.
or something. Yeah.
So so there's that. And right now that's kind of like
the Primo hangout spot, like the little ice cream shop.
That's it. You got Sikorsky's and you got Blueview. If I had unlimited resources and unlimited energy, there's a space that I'd like to have, that I'd like to turn into a little bit more of a I don't mean upscale in that like suit and tie kind of place, but just a little bit more like bougie food instead of like burgers and paninis and
For
that
sure.
kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like real like bougie dinners kind of thing. But I don't have unlimited resources, and I also don't have unlimited time and
Heard that.
that kind of thing. But if anybody's listening to this and you want to be an investor, but you want me to be the ideas girl, do I have an idea for you?
This way, I haven't been to Racine in a while. Like, I could picture Pomeroy. Like, I can close my eyes and see Pomeroy. You know what I mean? But I can't with Racine. I don't know.
Yeah,
Is Racine? Is that Old Lock 24? Like, is that the area?
That's the campground.
Yeah,
down there.
like the tomato farm right next to it. I feel like I've definitely been there. What do they? Old Lock? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, for sure. So,
yeah. And so
familiar there.
then you like if you pass that, then you get into Racine.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and right now it's it's just a sleepy little town under renovation, but in 2 years it's gonna be magic.
That's exciting. Like that. Yeah. I mean,
2 years it's gonna be magic.
economically prosperous. Can't wait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. In 5 years it's gonna be spectacular.
How beautiful.
That's what I'm manifesting.
Okay.
And then, Adventure Ohio is there to make a fun thing. There's a, oh gosh, I don't know. My mom knows this guy. Between Racine and our headquarters, you just get right outside of Racine. It's across from the boat ramp, pretty much, catty corners too. So some old farm property that used to be my family's property, out back of the river property. Some old farm property was, I think, kind of purchased by, like a fracking industry or whatever. This has been like 18
Sounds like
years
Ohio,
ago.
yeah.
Yeah, this has been like 18 years ago. And so where I actually grew up from, until I was in 6th grade or something like that, was on the family farm, and there were multiple members of my dad's family and farmland between all of us and hillsides, and it was incredible, and a creek. Anyway, that is all clear cut and kind of garbage now. And the project that they did it for, they found out that it didn't have what they wanted underneath of it, so now all that property has been just left. Well, somebody who, I think the people who own it, and I might get the story wrong, and I'm going to apologize in advance to all the people who own it and all the things, sorry. But the people who own it have created trails on there, and they do racing on it several times a year. So
Like sport bikes, like bicycles, like motorcycles.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And so it's a big deal. Like people come in, park all over the fields. Like they put on music there. And
Yeah, like the John Penton.
I don't know what that is.
It's like in Millfield. It's like kind of like in the woods, and then
Okay.
it pops out, and then it's like a normal kind of like track area they make, and then they pop back into the woods.
Yeah.
It's just like a motocross sports thing
yeah.
here in Athens. Well, Millfield, yeah.
Yeah. So, it's cool. So they do that. And again, my mom knows these people. I don't know them that well, but my mom and my sister have a food truck, so they vend there
Cool.
for those events from time to time. And again, I'm a relationship builder. So again, I want to talk to these folks because they don't use it all the time, and they've got trails there already. And the one thing that Meigs County in this Rivertown area is poor on is hiking trails. There's nowhere to go and hike that's public space. And I really want that for that town. So I want to talk to those folks too and say, what's the possibility that when those events aren't happening, that this is accessible for people to just go on a trail hike?
Yeah.
The trails are already made. Like, what's the possibility? Now, I haven't been out there. I'd like to go and take a little purview and see if it even is a possibility. There's me dreaming without any information, right? And see if it's a possibility. But if it was, then now all of a sudden you've got all of this beautiful forested space with trails that people can also hike on. So now you can plan a day adventure where you come and do a couple hours on the water with Adventure Ohio. You get some food downtown in Racine or in Pomeroy. You spend the night. You wake up the next day, you get a cool trail hike in, go do something. Maybe you go jump off the rocks, swim around, relax on a tube out there, have some dinner somewhere, cook out on your campfire, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, right? So all of a sudden now it's more than just like, I'm going to do a kayak thing and stay in a place and go eat some food. Like, you get more options.
For sure. Yeah. I think that even if it's just like 2 things in one day, like it feels like, I mean, like, even if you did those things individually, it's kind of not the same. Like, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Like, and two, just even, like, if you're, say, maybe the patron that's trying to persuade somebody that's, like, hesitant to come, and it's like, well,
right.
yeah.
You
well,
could
like,
also do.
Yeah, for sure. Variety, you
yeah.
know? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and I think that guy, I can't remember his name, but I think that guy who owns that, like, he could make a killing if he decided to invest in, like, ATV tour, like, like they're already using that for motorbike activity. If there was a section of that you could use, that would be like, more safe. Like, you're not motorsporting it up crazy hills, like you were for contests. But if there was a section of that could be done, where it's interesting and fun and all of that, and he had, 4 or 5 or 6 ATVs that you could do an ATV tour on.
That'd be really cool.
Like, people do that all the time.
For sure. Like, whether they do that in, like, the deserts and stuff, right? Like, you rent the motorbikes, the ATVs, whatever, razors and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So I have lots to talk to about lots of things, with lots of people.
It's a very expansive, like, exciting, like, future. And again, like, I just keep making the correlation to Hocking Hills. Like, I don't know why it set on fire during COVID, but I mean, again, love Hocking Hills. But I don't understand the craze about it, more so than, say, like, a small little river town.
Yeah.
I don't think people know about it. And just like, as it has gone on, like, what's that one, Brewery 33 or whatever, like that entire compound, like when the bypass was just put in and stuff, like maybe that restaurant wasn't even there, but then as Hocking Hills expands, like now it's, there's like 4 restaurants and like almost like there are 2 hotels, and it's just like this one little like pocket, like next to Hocking Hills just like explodes, and it's like, if it works there, it's going to work in Racine. They'll drive another 30 minutes, 45 minutes from Hocking Hills down, like it's just like create the space and let the people know about it.
Yeah.
If you build it, they will come. I do believe in that.
Yeah.
I think that's really awesome.
Well, and, like that kind of brings me to, for Racine the town, for Adventure Ohio, the things what we really need are people with reach. Like, it's all about social media these days, right? So I know Adventure Ohio is totally looking for, like social media influencer partners. Mm-hmm. Right.
Definitely the university comes to mind. Like, there's like, I was just talking to somebody's coming on the podcast. He's a professor at OU, like an entrepreneurship, and he's talking about like just like consulting opportunities where like he had students from like the Voinovich School of Leadership will like come to a business and then just kind of like consult them, like kind of whatever needs help. Like, I don't know, but it would just like, also to the youth, right? Like, I feel like they're the most tapped in. Like, I definitely think there's an avenue there.
Yeah.
Like, there's got to be, like, for sure. But that is a good idea.
Yeah, those
like,
things
I don't believe in marketing, but I get what you mean. You have to market. Like,
yeah. You just have to let people know you're there, right? Like, that's really what marketing is. It's like, for me anyway, like, I'm not trying to sell you anything.
Yeah.
Like, yes, I have a business, and yes, I have to make money in my business, but I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm trying to show you what opportunity
trying to share an experience.
Here.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
This is the opportunity that's here. This is the experiences that you can have, and if this is your vibe, we would love to have you come along and enjoy that vibe in our space.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it's so dark where we are, and we have on those rocks, there's a flat rock there. Like, you literally can lay out there and just stare at the stars.
That's cool. Yeah.
Watch the satellites go by.
Comparatively, right, to like the Hocking Hills thing, like the canoeing trip or tubing trip, and like the Ohio River is like we're trying to compare like the Grand Canyon to like you know what I mean, like a hill in Ohio. Like, it's just not the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's different experiences, and they're both spectacular
Exactly,
experiences. You know,
exactly,
they're just
exactly.
they're both spectacular experiences. They both have something to offer. I mean, the Hocking Hills water tours, like that's moving water. You know, so when
Yeah.
you're on that, yeah, you're lazy river floating, but it's moving. You can count on it to get you there in a timely kind of way. The Ohio River is controlled. It's moving water, but it's not moving, right? So it is truly a lazy river float. Like, don't be in any hurry because you're not getting anywhere fast if you're on a tube,
Yeah.
right? Like, if you're paddling, then however much strength and speed you have, you can get wherever you want to go, right? But if you're on a tube, man, don't be in any hurry. Like, you are in it for the long haul. When we put you in, like,
Just like kind of the point, you know what
Yeah,
I mean?
just
get
like-
off the device.
that's right.
Watch
Hang
the
out in
birds.
the water,
Yeah.
like chill with your friends, enjoy your time, laugh, get out and swim, hang out on the banks. You know, bring your snorkel gear if you want to give it a go. You know, that kind of thing. That's the difference. Like, that's the difference between the experiences, right? Like, when you're in the Hocking Hills, you can count on that river moving. Like, it is always moving. It's moving at a consistent speed. It's going to push you. Maybe you put a little effort in, maybe not so much, you know, like that kind of thing. But when you're on the Ohio River, like, it's vast. It moves at a slow pace. And it's about being like lazy and in nature and just kicking back and enjoying the day. No timeline, no hurry. You know, when we put you in on a tube, you've got it until you get there. You know, we hope you get there before dark.
Yeah.
But-
that is one, like the glow tube thing. But I guess like boats, I don't know. Like the kind of boats that are out on the river that late are probably like the pontoon guys or just whatever. Boats that are sitting still catfishing or something like that. It's like, I mean, you still have barges at night or whatever. Maybe
Right.
that's whatever.
Yeah. Well, and we took glow tube off the list
For like
last
this
year.
upcoming. Oh, really?
And we won't have it back on again this
Just
year.
because of that, like the logistics of it getting dark and like
Yeah.
somebody getting lost in the
Yeah.
like I thought about that. Like the first time I saw it, I was like, oh, how cool, and then I was like, oh wait, out in the dark, oh shit.
It is really cool.
Yeah.
And the way we've managed that and kept that in the realm of safety is there's one person on the river with everyone, and there's a ground crew.
Ah,
And so the ground crew is driving along, checking where they are from time to time, communicating with the one on the water.
Yeah.
Where are you? How are things going? All that kind of stuff.
smart.
Because even though they're glowed up, let's say you got 12 people and they're all glowed up with the with glow sticks and the lights we put
Mhm.
around and all of that kind of stuff, you can't see them. You can't see them
Wait,
unless you're on
like-
top of them.
Wow, really?
Yeah, you
Wow.
can't see them. So
Just like the reflections of the light on the water of the moon, like just literally just
It's
like
so
just-
small.
wow.
it's so small in
Yeah.
comparison to the vastness of the water. So until you get up on them,
Yeah, which
You
is
can't-
you know if
it's too
you're
late.
whatever, yeah, anything.
too late.
I mean, like a barge, you'd never no shot. You
Yeah,
know? Yeah.
yeah.
But,
and so with the barges, like it's easy because we know they're going to be in the
Yeah,
middle. We
yeah,
stay to the
yeah.
bank, whatever. And because the flow typically slows down even more at night
I didn't
than
know
in
that.
the daytime. And so because the flow is less at night, it takes a whole lot longer. So there's paddling involved.
Mm.
And oftentimes my brother is usually the one on the water and I'm the ground crew. Oftentimes he hooks them all together.
And just, like,
hooks
tows
to-
them. Yeah.
and tows them.
Good
And-
workout. Yeah.
yeah, and so we took that off last year
Yeah,
for the
yeah.
safety aspect of it. We were just concerned,
Yeah.
so we took that off for the safety aspect. We took it off for my brother's, physical activity level
Yeah.
as well, and we replaced it last year with the kayaks.
Cool.
So now we just do glow paddles. It's
It's
much-
just like just way more agency and movement and
Absolutely.
like yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
yeah, absolutely.
Control a little bit more variables.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so it just altogether it's just so much safer
Yeah.
for the people, for us as the guides, for the people who are on the water,
Mm-hmm.
and then you know, again, we put those calls in, so the barges, and then my brother's got a big spot that he takes when he's on the water with them too. So when he sees the barge coming, he throws out the spot so they are aware of where the
Because those
group
guys
is.
know what's up. They've been on the water for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, but like those nights, they're so wonderful. Those nights, it's so quiet, it's so beautiful, and you get on, and the sun is setting, and you're on, and so the sun sets on the West Virginia side. So we put in, you get to watch the sunset, and then we go out and paddle, and then the stars start coming out, you know, and it's just, and it's quiet, and it's lovely, and it's so nice. It's our most popular event, you
Nice.
know, being
Cool.
able to do that, and we keep it small so that it's manageable for us.
Yeah.
And safe all the way around. So we take 8 to 10 people out. So, and that's it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, other places might do, you know, bigger ones, but we've got one guide on the water, one ground crew. We take a few people out, let them have like a more intimate experience.
For sure.
Because it's really about the nature experience for us. You know, I mean, whatever, we have to make money, but like we want people having a really quality nature experience on the water. And for most of these people, it's like the first time they've ever been on the Ohio River, right?
Yeah,
and
that's
we
good,
want
yeah.
them to leave the Ohio River going, man, this is so beautiful.
Yeah.
We totally
But
love
again,
this.
like Racine pops off and there's an infrastructure, now they can come back. You
That's
know
right.
what I mean? Yeah.
That's
yeah.
right.
How cool.
That's right. So anyway, you can find us online.
Yeah.
We're on Instagram. Please follow us there. I'm trying to build that account. We're on Instagram. It's at symbol, Let's Adventure Ohio. And our website is let'sadventureohio.com. That's where you'll see the listing of our events, and you're able to sign up for our events there. And our Facebook is Adventure Ohio. And yeah, those are our platforms.
Do you know of any? Have you guys already set dates for like your first things, or just that's where you
We have.
follow? Okay.
Yeah.
Do you know what those are?
We have, off the top of my head, no, but I can get my phone real quick.
Yeah,
and
for
say
sure.
'em.
Cool.
Gotta put the old lady glasses on. Okay.
Sick.
All right, ready?
Yeah. Right.
All right, so we've got a couple events going on each month. So our first one, again, this is unpredictable, but we're going to go for it anyway. June the 19th, we're doing a glow paddle, and then on June 20th, we're teaching a learn how to kayak and doing a glow paddle. So for people who aren't familiar with kayaking but want to kind of learn a little bit how
Yeah.
to get in, how to get out, how to paddle, how to move yourself around, we're going to teach that.
Cool.
July 11th, that's that lock tour I told you about. So July 11th, we're going to do the historic lock paddle tour. I'm so excited about that. Oh, I can't wait to get people on that one. Then we're talking about some family camps. So like weekend camps where family comes, pitches a tent, hangs out. We're talking about having, kind of like Girl Scout or Boy Scout badges. So, like to help people engage in all the opportunities that are there. There's a kayak badge, there's a snorkel badge, there's a jump off the rock badge,
That's
like
cool.
there's a go for a hike, there's a make a fire, there's make a s'more, like
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. And so like you can, it helps you to then like indulge in all the
Yeah,
experiences.
or romanticize them even.
Right.
Like just
And
for
now you
sure.
got memories, but souvenirs on
Yeah.
on your sash or whatever, however we decide we're gonna put it all together. So like in our camp store, we'll have the different badges that you
Cool.
can purchase for the activities and create, like an agenda of sorts.
Yeah.
And so we'll have some like common times for, like we'll have a campfire story. And so somebody will start the campfire, we'll tell the story. We'll do we loved doing this when we were younger. And we've kind of perpetuated that with nieces and nephews. But we do like somebody starts a story and then they pass it on, and then somebody adds to the story and they pass it on. So like one of the badges will be a storytelling badge, and if you participate in the round robin story, then you earn your storytelling badge.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. So so that's kind of what we're going to do at the family camps and things like that. So they'll bring their tent and, get themselves set up and all of that kind of thing. The camper will be available to rent for people who want to be a little bougier. And
Perfect.
if we have a bell tent, that'll be available to rent for
Cool.
people who want to be a little bougier on those. And then, I like every month we have 2 glow paddles. In July, we're going to allow the tube floats to go out for people to just do their own thing.
Cool.
And in July, we're going to snorkel as well. We're talking about a mermaid day camp. So, coming, learning how to swim with the fin on, with the mono fin on, and then, putting the tail on over top of that, learning how to exit if you're scared, how to get it off, that kind of thing, and then culminating in you leave with a mermaid shot, of you doing the thing. So
How fun.
a little mermaid day camp, we'll probably put some jewelry making in there,
Cool.
something
fun for little
some
girls.
little
Yeah,
fun
yeah.
things like that, and it's just like I say day camp. It's like a 3-4 hour kind of
cool.
event just to hang out and have a good time on the water in this way. So we're talking about a couple of those in July and August. Several family camps. We're trying to do one family camp a month starting in July. And then, 2 glow paddles, usually on the same weekend. We usually do like a Friday night and a Saturday night.
Cool.
Glow paddle kind of thing. Most everything is on the weekends as far as the events go.
Yeah.
'Cause that's
Even
when we
like
love-
rentals. Like, can somebody?
Rentals are anytime.
Perfect. Starting what date?
I would say a safe bet would be probably middle of June.
Cool. Yeah, but
Yeah.
stay up to date on the social media, and
Absolutely.
you'll find out when things are opening.
Yeah.
Like Let's Adventure Ohio on the website. That's how you would facilitate booking and stuff like that.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And then our stay spaces, we'll have those on Hip Camp.
Cool.
But my plan is to open a web page too on our Adventure Ohio website so that it directs people to the Hip Camp.
Yeah,
I mean,
cool.
people will organically find it through Hip Camp too.
Yeah.
But if you're like, oh, I heard this, or oh, I see it on social media or whatever, you can go directly to our website and it will have it listed out. And when you hit the book now, it'll take you to our booking site. At least that's the hope if I do my job right and get it all set up properly.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, I really appreciate your time again today. This was really awesome to hear about all the exciting things that you guys are looking forward to this summer.
Yeah, thanks for having me again. I feel like I just did like a Meigs County, what's happening in Meigs County plus Adventure Ohio.
Yeah, it was a good read. Yeah.
Kind of thing. Maybe they'll hire me to be their PR gal.
That's funny. Thanks so much, Michelle.
Yeah, thank you. Have a good day.